Yo, yo, get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Welcome in, everybody. It's Thursday night here on the Chicago Sports Podcast. Me, Michael, Jim, and the Bishop coming to you guys live here. And be sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Appreciate everyone coming out here on this Thursday evening. Going to be talking about the Bears-Raiders game coming up, but specifically the Raiders. Ashton Jeanty, this is their first-round pick, a top 10 pick. And what we can expect out of him against this Bears defense, what we expect the Bears defense to do against the Raiders run game, which neither side of those games have looked great so far, the Raiders run game and the Bears defense. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, but we'll be discussing that here coming up. And before we do, Jim, Bishop, how we doing tonight, guys?
Doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, Mike and Jim. I've been in Chicago for the last 4 weeks, so I just got back to Texas and just trying to get myself reacclimated to some things and getting caught up on things. But other than that, everything's been great. How's about you, Jim?
Any Cowboys fans?
I'm doing about like every. I'm doing like every other Bear fan this week. Having a good time.
Yeah. First victory week of the year. Feels good, especially after how the first 2 weeks went. There was nothing to be happy about as the week went on, but a lot of momentum coming now after the Dallas game. 1-2, not the best record, but it's a hell of a lot better than 0-3. It at least keeps your season alive for the time being, and they have a chance to get to 500 this weekend against an opponent that let's call it how it is, fellas. They should beat. I think they're a more talented team than the Raiders. It's not going to be an easy game by any means, especially on the road. But if there is one area that they're going to have to win by, it's force Geno Smith to throw the ball and stop Ashton Jeanty from taking this game over. There's a reason he was a top 10 pick. He's one of the best running back prospects the game's really seen in a long time, probably since Bijan, and you can go back to Zeke and Barkley in the mid-2010s for guys that are comparable, and those guys have taken over games plenty of times in their young careers. Let's not have Ashton Jeanty's breakout game be this week against us. He can save that for week 5 or later, but it's going to be a tall task for this Bears defense, guys.
Yeah, it will be. But at the same time, I think it's an opportunity for the Bears defense to make a statement. They started out and they started one last week with takeaways. Now it's time to stuff the run. With that being said, one of the main priorities that this defense is going to have to make sure that they're on top of are their gap integrities. They're going to have to maintain their assignments. They can't overplay. The interior line is going to really have to be disruptive, collapse the pockets, get into that backfield. But our edge guys are going to have to set the edges. We got to contain Ashton. We can't allow for any real big runs, and the linebackers are going to have to do just that, back that line. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, but I think it's an opportunity for the Bears defense to finally have that statement game when it comes to stopping the run. Hopefully we'll see a lot of Billings, because that is our primary guy that can, help us with maintaining and stopping that run. And I want to see a lot more out of Dexter this week as well. So that's my take on it. I think, can it be done? Yeah. If we can, my main goal is to keep him under 100 yards. If we can keep that young man under 100 yards, then I think it's a successful day. Jim?
Yeah, I agree with everything he just said. I think we got a guy in Sewell as well that can help us in them gaps. And, maybe some run blitzes or something, just to, try to contain him as much as we can. Obviously, make someone else beat us. Can't be this guy. So, get off the field on third downs. Just keep him from, taking over the game. That's what I think. Get off the field. Get him on the sideline. We can have a couple more drives like we did in the third quarter last week. That would help us out quite a bit.
Yep. I am with you guys 100%. I got one more in the house here Thursday evening. Fields Vision. We just got into talking about how this Bears defense, they're going to have to step up, have their first game where it feels like they have to stop the run, stop Ashton Jeanty. Overall, what are your thoughts so far heading into that matchup?
To be honest, has Ashton done anything this year? I mean, yeah.
No.
That's what I'm afraid of, actually. I'm afraid that, he might try to have his breakout game against the Bears. But all in all, if we can, I think I just heard somebody was talking about that third quarter drive. I think it was 19 plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can have a couple of those, I'm happy to keep him off the field. And because I know he's dangerous, he's due to break one. I just hope it's not against Chicago.
Yeah, let's hope he saves that. Although I do have him on one of my fantasy teams, so it's one of those. Well, if he does go crazy, it's like, well, I wouldn't mind if it is Jeanty and the Bears could still squeak out a win. But it's not all just going to be on this Bears defense to stop him. I mean, I got a chart I can pull up kind of right here. The Bears defense down in that lower right corner. They're kind of they might be the worst run defense in the NFL. They're the worst in yards before contact per carry allowed. So they're going to need some of these defensive tackles to really start stepping up. I know Gervon Dexter was mentioned and Andrew Billings as well. But how about the guy they paid $40 million in free agency for with Grady Jarrett? I mean, I know he got injured early in the year. Maybe that's nagging him a little bit. But I'd like to see the veteran really step up here, make his presence known on this Bears team to really get that first step, get in the backfield and hit Jeanty in the backfield. Because the Raiders O-line, I don't know if you guys watched the Chargers game that was on Monday night a couple weeks. It was a late one, so if no one did, I can't blame you. But the Chargers were in the backfield every single run play. We need the Bears to do that because it's obvious the Raiders O-line ain't that good. Let's see these defensive tackles step up, boys, right?
Yeah.
Well,
you said the Raiders
I'm
line.
glad you said that. This is something I'm going to say this really quick about our defensive line, especially with Grady Jarrett. I think we had an issue with identity first 2 weeks. I think that's now starting to manifest itself. That's why I think this could be that week where now we can make that statement game with regard to stuffing the run. Last week it was takeaways, being aggressive, every man to the ball. I think if they can duplicate that, but more importantly, again, like I said, this really the interior line is going to have to really do its job, but they're going to have their gap integrity, and then regarding to run blitzes, we gotta be careful with that for the simple fact, one missed assignment, and that could be for a real long gain. So we got to really be on top of things. Jimmy mentions Sewell. Sewell's going to be I think him and Hippolyte are going to be key with regard to that run defense. Going to have to be able to have guys sideline to sideline and have the speed to be able to get to them. So it's going to be interesting.
And I would hope that our offense could continue to drive as well as the way they did against Dallas, also to help keep them off the field and to play from behind to take away the running game.
That too.
Yeah.
That too.
Jim, what do you think?
I was just getting ready to say that, and I looked up the Raiders' offensive line is 22nd ranked so far this season, so not the greatest. So, our offense gets cracking. Don't let them get any kind of momentum with that offensive run game. I think we'll be all right. I mean, who else is going to beat us if it's not him?
Brock Bowers is my concern.
True.
Yeah.
Especially no TJ Edwards to cover him. That could end up being a little dicey, but I'd like to put the ball in Geno Smith's hands instead of Jeanty. I'd prefer that a lot more. I'd like our odds a lot better, especially watching that Chargers game. The Chargers made the Raiders one-dimensional, and he threw 3 interceptions. So, again, I think the Chargers defense has a foot up on ours, but it's one of those things. You make the Raiders one-dimensional, you make Geno Smith beat you, I'll take the Bears up in a game like that every single day.
And I'll make this a revenge game too.
Yeah.
The Geno, we should have beat them last year. 9-6, 6-3. It was something crazy like that. We should have beat them last year, and they've been on my. I marked this game on my list as well when Geno got traded.
Yep. Yeah, Geno beat us in like the worst game I've ever watched at Soldier Field late in that year. That was the most painful 3 hours I've ever wasted in my life.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That and the Cleveland Justin Fields game live in my head like just the biggest wastes of time I've ever had.
Well, I will say this too, man. I'm glad that there is some film on how to make them one-dimensional. You know, so if you can kind of mirror what the Chargers did, but more importantly, then add a little something on top of that. You know, but again, it's really gonna come down to the players, man, and their discipline, man. That's what it's really gonna come down to. We gotta play smart football, you know, offensively, 0 turnovers, you know, cut the penalties out, and defensively gap integrity and continue to be aggressive. Football, turnovers, and then on the third phase, special teams, we gotta handle our business. You know, it'd be nice not to have to punt our game, but in the event that we do, we got to pin them in. We got to pin them inside. You know, inside that 10-yard line, man. Have them starting from very what I consider negative field advantage. You know, if we can do that and get off to a really quick start offensively, like we've been doing within the first 1 or 2 series, come out and get on the board quick and early. I think wanted to do something well for our team in terms of confidence, especially being on the road. But you want to try to take advantage of any advantage, and if we can psychologically get into their heads and make some stops, you know, it can make well for the team for the game. So, Fields.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I mean, I'm just excited. I don't know if did y'all even recap the game from last week? Was that done on Monday?
I know I didn't.
It was
okay.
It was done on Monday, but I mean, we can do a short recap. Yeah, we can definitely do a short recap.
No, because when you brought up like film on them, I still don't believe there's going to be film on us because we totally.
Uh-oh. Oh, right. Wait, he's in waiting. Get him in. There he is.
Sorry about that. So, offensive and defensively, we look, to me, totally different. When I went back and watched the previous 2 games against Minnesota and Detroit, last week we looked totally different. We would show blitz more, and we had Dak Prescott checking down before he even said hi. And so I think, that's one thing that I think we got going for us. Like it's still not enough film on our team, and I think we could seem like continuously get better. Like I said, the only person that really concerned me, and I just feel like Chicago's always struggle against good tight ends, is Brock Bauer. Because I watched his career when I was in Georgia, and this dude is just phenomenal and very skilled, and he's an easy check down person to go to for Geno. He doesn't seem to be used as playing football, like you said. Getting after the quarterback, or just need pressure. Throw them off their routes. then I'm fine. But I just like the only thing I really want to say as far as like last week goes is that I like the direction that I feel like they were going when they were down 1-2. I just want to see growth each and every game, and that's what I'm looking forward to this game as well.
Really quick before Jim chime in, with regard to what Fields was saying in terms of Brock Bowers beating us. I'm not overly concerned about Brock, and the reason being not far as him as a talent, he's immensely talented. It's Pete Carroll and his offenses and his offensive philosophy. He's never really been real big on the tight end usage in terms of a lot of catches. If you really think about his
Mhm.
previous offenses, he's always relied on his receivers. He's used tight ends, but not to a point where there's such a threat in the offense. And correct me if I'm wrong. My recollection is I'm old, so I tend to forget more than I remember. But I'm just not overly concerned because, like you said, he hasn't been utilized that much already in the offense. So but more importantly, we have the
You might
body,
got a point.
and we have the bodies when it comes to being able to cover tight ends. So I'm not overly concerned with that.
You know what? I didn't even think about that with Pete Carroll. Hey, I think you're absolutely right. I'm trying to think of a tight end.
Yeah, I don't have
There
any.
you go.
Well, he did Jimmy Graham, maybe.
I think he was there for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the fact that Pete Carroll's been
Yeah.
in college and the NFL for so long, and we can't think of a tight end right off the top of that, I think that tells you a lot.
I mean, he's not. I don't think he's Mike March bad. You don't think he's Mike March bad with tight ends, but I can't think of any.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a different angle to think about this. I watched the Dallas game, and their running backs, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I thought they ran pretty good against us, but they really didn't do anything in the big picture. So that's a little comforting, I guess, right? Um, Seemed like they were getting big chunks, and we got them off the field. So uh, I take a little bit of hope in that going forward into this week's game. Um, so
Yeah, I mean, Javante broke out that big run, literally
Yeah.
first play of the game, and then Tyree took it away, and that kind of set the tone for the whole game. But it didn't really stop Dallas's run game. I thought they ran the ball very well, had a
Yeah.
lot of yards after contact, especially, and you can't let someone like Ashton Jeanty break too many tackles on you because I don't think Javonte Williams is that good of a running back. So the fact he was able to do that on the Bears, it's a little concerning. And it's typically the younger rookie running backs. They typically take a little bit to break in, even someone as talented as Jeanty. So definitely concerned, not just to get pressure in the backfield on handoffs, but also just wrap him up and bring him down because Jeanty's one of the best break tackle running backs college football has seen in quite a long time. It's why he went so high. So you got to also bring him down when you get to him, which is kind of the second hardest part about stopping him.
Yeah. Talk about Jeanty a lot. Do you guys wish the Bears would have got him? And what our offense would look like with him?
I was a proponent of it. I mean, I would have rather seen. I think they would have benefited a lot more from him than what we've gotten out of Loveland at this point. But Loveland's still young. I mean, he's hurt now, and it looked like they were going to use him a lot in that Dallas game with 2 targets and like the first 3 passes or something like that. But again, I really like the talent. I also really would have just, as a football fan, would have liked to see Ben Johnson with an Ashton Jeanty and what he could have done with him. But again, that's that's done, and just gotta hope that they find a running backs. Swift got traded once already in Ben Johnson's system, and kind of looks like they might be headed that direction again, getting a new running back in probably a year from now. Whether that's the draft, free agency, I have no idea, but yeah, running backs definitely of concern for the Bears, so we'll just have to see.
One of the guy that I actually really wanted was the guy ended up in Cleveland,
Quinchon,
Junkins, and I really wanted him, and so much that I drafted him kind of early in my fantasy football team, even though he wasn't signed. So, but nah, I really like that kid. I felt like he would have did us wonders. again, I agree with you as far as what being that Cortland level has not been able to do anything as of yet. We've probably been and the lack of running game that we have, it probably would have been a lot more beneficial for us to have Ashton Jeanty. But I never was a big fan of the way he, as a running back, him standing straight up. I know he's changed it now. And I think that's part of his adjustment issues as well. But I've never been a fan of a running back standing straight up in the backfield. It kind of, to me, takes your momentum away.
Yeah, it's definitely unconventional what
That's
Jeanty was
beautiful.
doing at Boise State. People are comparing it to like Michael Myers, just about to just not really doing anything, just standing there, and he's about to just walk your football team down. But he does seem like Pete Carroll's trying to change that a little
Yeah,
bit in Vegas now. That I don't think that actually has impacted his results on the field. I think it's more of his O line has been pretty awful, and it'll just be interesting to see who is worse, basically, because the Bears' run defense has been bottom three at best. The Raiders' run game has been bottom three at best. So, I mean, it's one of those movable objects versus the stoppable force, and who's going to end up coming out on top? Who knows? Maybe they're both awful, and it's just a couple big runs and some couple negatives. But overall, where do you guys see this one going? This battle between defensive line and the Raiders' offensive line?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think really quick with regard to running back. Um, I know everybody is down on Swift, and understandably so. I'm gonna be honest. The guy that I want to see get a lot more touches, and would prefer to him get more touches in the beginning, because I think he's our, you know, probably our best guy to run between the tackles is Manangai. I don't think. I just don't think. I think if our offensive line establishes the run early on. See, we start out good, but then we quick to want to get to the throwing game. You want to get quick to passing. I think if we can get out there and establish the run game early on to get into a rhythm that can then create pass action, that makes the game a lot easier for Caleb as well. But I think if we can start out with between the tackle runs with Manangai, I think that'll help us out a lot. And then, you know, especially a team against a team like, say, the Raiders, that would be great. I would love to see him get the starts. And basically him and Swift can almost, of course, you're gonna have one get a little more carries than the other, but I wouldn't be mad if Monanga got more carries than Swift, because Swift is not a between the tackles runner. And we gotta establish some punishment up the middle. You know, and in order to do that, we got to do it early, get the game started that way. And we got a guy that can do it. He did it at Rutgers. This guy led the guy led the Big Ten. I mean, come on, he led the Big Ten in rushing 2 years in a row. There's a reason for that, man. And we're talking about teams like Wisconsin, who's always been known for having a dog at running back. So it can be done, man. We just have to be dedicated as a coaching staff and as part of our identity. What it comes down to, we can't abandon it after we have a couple good positive runs and say, okay, now Caleb start throwing the football. Nah, nah. What you think, Jim? Am I on point or am I off?
I think you're dead on, man. I was trying to think. He said, "What do I think? The outcome's going to be?" I think. I really think that we're going to dominate them. I mean, I'm just a Bears fan saying that, but I think we're going to dominate them. I think the Dallas offensive line is better than the Raiders offensive line. I thought we did well. Thought we did well against those guys, and I have no reason to suspect we're not going to do well against these guys. We're going to get pressure. We're going to maybe keep it down in distance where the running game might not be quite as they might not call as many runs as they normally would. I think we're gonna come out in the long run. I really do. Maybe 3 touchdowns.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean,
Now,
you
I think
mentioned
that.
the Cowboys O
that's a
line
hell of a
being a lot
prediction.
better. I mean, look at on this chart where the Cowboys are at run blocking and where the Raiders are. I mean, it is one of the best versus one of the worst. I mean, it should set up. I mean, maybe that's a little bit reason why Dallas was a lot better than we thought they would be with the running game. They are a good run blocking team. They kind of have been for a long time now, going back to even the days with Zeke. They've always
Yeah.
seemed to have a decent run game. So, but the Raiders are completely different animal in the wrong direction. They cannot block anybody. I'm sure hell, I'm thinking maybe Ohio State could stop Jeanty in the backfield at this point with the Raiders O line. So if there's but it does feel like it's a get right spot for both teams. So it just feels one of those things where it's unpredictable, but I feel like our Bears fandom will lead us toward the direction where it's the Bears get right just because of how bad the Raiders have been.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll have to. Got to get to 500. Got to find a way to get to 500 in a very winnable game. I was looking at the line earlier. I think it flipped back to the Raiders' favorite. I think they opened as the favorite. Then the Bears were favored by like a 1.5. And I think now the Raiders are favored again by a 1.5. I guess now we can kind of look at the game overall in a larger scope. What do you guys think about that with the line kind of flipping back and forth? Feels like a 50-50 game to Vegas. So I just want to hear your thoughts overall on um, kind of that spread kind of flipping around. People not too sure about this one.
I think it's because the Bears, I feel like, might be the better team, but the Raiders are at home, and you always got to take into account of the home team finding a way to win, getting home calls and things of that nature. But I mean, we're still kind of unpredictable. You know, it was just one game, and it was against the Cowboys. I think that's how people outside are viewing it more so than us here. So I think that's part of the reason why it's probably bouncing back and forth.
Well, I will say this. I think it does kind of matter because Ben Johnson definitely mentioned it to the players today. So it's definitely some locker room um, built bulletin board material. But and then it's good. We should be the underdog. We shouldn't be favored. I want us to be the underdog in every game this year. I want us to really have a reason to go out there with an attitude and start trying to prove everybody wrong and start making our stake in terms of as a team who we are. Again, all about the identity aspect of it is all about everything. So at this point, good. We shouldn't be favored, and it should be by more than just a point and a half. If we are the underdog by a point and a half, it should be more than that.
What was the line in the Cowboys game? I'm sure we were underdogs in that game as well.
I think Dallas was a 1.5 favorite, so it was pretty close. Vegas thought it was going to be a closer game.
I think Vegas and the rest of the odds makers don't know what Bears team's going to show up. The Detroit Bears or yet last week's Bears, and I don't either, to be honest.
Hell, they don't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
always
think
thought
they
the
do,
home
Jeff.
team.
Well, I think
Yeah, I always thought the home team got 3 points. I don't
They
know how
do.
true that is.
Yeah, they do.
So they think the Bears are going to get in that 3 points. So we're going to get some of that back. So I think I don't know, maybe 3 touchdowns is a little much, but I think we won 17 last week. I think it's somewhere around in there again. Somewhere around in there again. That's my prediction.
I think may sound crazy, but I was kind of happy that Detroit won in the fashion the way they did because to me it proved that Detroit right now is a far superior team, and uh, when I think the Bears are closer to the Minnesota and the Dallas team, as far as their ability than they were to that Detroit game. I just think Detroit had all the motivation in the world to beat them. But like I said, they beat the Ravens in the fashion that they beat the Baltimore. It's like, okay, maybe Detroit is not as bad as I thought they were going to be with losing all their coordinators and coaches. And so I kind of felt good for that victory for them because to me it made that 52-point burger that they gave us not to me sting as bad. I don't know if y'all agree or not, but it didn't feel as bad. If they can do that to Baltimore, then we're not as bad as what we looked against them.
Right, right. No, I agree. I'll say this. With regard to Detroit, one, I didn't buy into the whole they lost, they lost the coordinators and certain coaches. I didn't fall into that trick bag because the guys that they retained were already part of the organization. So it wasn't going to be a lot of changes. Might be some verbiage changes, but a lot of things are going to remain the same. You're not going to scrap your entire identity, just because you lost a couple coordinators. If anything, you're gonna add to that, and that's what it looks like they've done. And now
Yeah.
defensively, they're healthy. And that was the biggest problem for them last year. They just had way too many injuries on the defensive side of the football, and they just got to a point where they couldn't stop anybody. It wasn't that they couldn't score; they just couldn't stop anybody. And unfortunately, they could. You get into a shooting match, and it comes down to turnovers at that point, and that's what hurt them. So Detroit is still the team I feel to beat in the North. I'm not giving that to Green Bay because they got Micah Parsons. I still feel that Detroit is the team to beat in the North. And um,
But the
I
offensive
I
line
will
is
say
still
this,
going
that
undefeated.
that win against that win against Dallas definitely helps us because any team that we play within the NFC that's not in our division, we need to win those games because those are teams that could potentially have an opportunity for wild card spots. So if we beat all those
Good point.
teams and at least split with guys in the North, then we're doing something. And of course, we got to beat the AFC teams when we meet them as well. But if we can, I feel if we can go back and beat Detroit, and then of course we got to beat Minnesota, and we got to beat Green Bay. So we have to win those games and beat everybody else that we play in the NFC. And of course, we may have a loss or two with some AFC teams, but that's what's really going to help us. But that win against Dallas was a major help this
Yeah,
early in the season as well.
I know this is we got what 15 games remaining, and I know this is just jumping the gun, but I know it's possible. But is there ever been a time where all four teams in the same division went to the playoffs?
No,
But it is
I
possible.
no,
don't believe so. Because for so long there were only the two wild card teams.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
think now I guess it would be possible with three wild cards plus the division winner in automatically, but
mhm.
when did they implement that? Like only 3 years ago or so?
Okay, so yeah.
the the one good thing I think we may have in our favor too is right now you got the Giants that's stinking up the place. I don't expect Dallas to do no more than 500 football. And then you look at this NFC South with both outside of Tampa. Uh, I don't see Atlanta doing anything, and the Saints. So it's a possible that's again why it's very important that we win every game that we play other NFC teams outside of our division because that will solidify us a wild card spot. Because those four teams I just mentioned are are weaker than I thought they would be. So
What do you think about Washington? Having just said that, we got Washington right after the bye. That's that's another one of those teams that may not be as good as we thought they were going to be. At least,
yeah, and I forgot all about Washington. It's the key to Washington is we got to really keep an eye on the health of Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry. And I don't think Scary Terry is going to be available. I think it's a possibility he won't be available. I think by the time we see them, Jaden will probably be ready. But then got to make him test that knee. You know what I'm saying? So again, it comes down. It's really going to come down to, man, who are we as a football team? Period. And who do we want to be as a football team?
I have a good
But that's a
feeling
winnable
before
game.
games.
I think that's a winnable game too, though, Jim.
yeah.
With what's going on with what the injuries and different things that they got going on there as well. They don't seem to be that daunting team that they were last year. And a lot of it, I think, too, is because I think everybody's starting to figure out Kingsbury's offense again.
Yeah, and I felt like Jaden Daniels was going to hit the CJ Stroud wall this year, and because once you get a bunch of game film on there, you get all okay. This is what he does. This is what he prefers, his preference and things of that nature. And once you get game film on someone, you know, I mean, the talent is still there. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's not going to be like he was last year, where he was, oh my God, he made this wonderful play and this and that and another. But the Bears schedule, when we looked at the beginning of the year, it was like, oh my God, this is pretty tough. But now with injuries, it's kind of softened up. Even because I believe we play Cincinnati within the next couple of weeks as well, like over the next month or so. Obviously, they're going to be without their quarterback. So
Yeah.
games that were initially going to be tough, but now like we need to win those games.
Yeah, I'll be there for the Cincinnati game. That's going to be nice.
Is it week 9? I want to say.
November 2nd, whichever week that is.
Okay, yeah, I believe so. So, but yeah, a lot of these games now winnable. Cleveland just scares me because their defense is just really that daggone good. Their offense is meh, but their defense is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Bears' next 5 games. So you got at the Raiders, obviously, this week, then the bye week, which I think with all the injuries the Bears have right now, like, I wasn't a fan of the early bye, but it's funny how it plays out because I think it's coming at a perfect time, honestly,
Perfect.
for guys like Kyler, Edwards, maybe even Darnell Wright to get fully healthy before you have that big Monday night game at Washington in week 6, home against the Saints, which there's not too many times with the Bears. I'm sure they should win a game. That's one that I am. At Baltimore, I assume Baltimore will be out of their funk by then. That'll be a really tough one. But then at Cincinnati, who's looked fairly putrid since Joe Burrow's gotten hurt, unsurprisingly. But that defense in Cincinnati's bad, and Jake Browning hasn't done anything really with that offense in his relief of Burrow. So you're really looking at that schedule, and I don't think Washington will be easy again. I don't think so. I'm not high on Washington, but I don't doesn't sound like I'm as low on them as maybe some of you guys are. So I think at absolute worst, I mean a 3-2 stretch there puts you at 4-4. 4-4 with about half the season still to go, and anything can happen. I think the Bears, in 2018 started 3-3 or 4-3 or something like that, and still ended up going 12-4. So there's plenty of time still to turn it around. You got the big win against Dallas, and now your schedule, like you guys said, it doesn't look too difficult compared to just about a month ago before all the injuries started to take place. So it's a good time to build some momentum, not be distracted. I'm also curious to see, and your thoughts as well here, what the Bears look like after a win. Like we've seen them now in a couple games after losses. Obviously, the Detroit game didn't go well at all, and then the Dallas game they bounced back really well. But I want to see if they remain focused. Right, this is a very winnable game against the Raiders. What do they look like after a win with some momentum building and Ben Johnson coaching after a victory? Want to hear your guys' thoughts on that? We could start with you, Jim.
Oh, well, I think they got a lot good to build off of, right? I think Odeyingbo is a very good positive. We could turn him loose again. I mean, just some of the things I'm trying to run through my head, what we would take from the win at the Cowboys. I thought when we played Detroit last year that they had all kind of trick plays, and I was just kind of waiting for Ben Johnson to bust out some of them. And then this week with the flea flicker, I was like, wow. So I'm looking forward to some more of those things. Maybe we feel a little better after coming off a win. Maybe we start trying a couple more things. I'd like to see Monangai get more carries this game. I think he can start to feel where we're at as far as that goes. Maybe use Swift to more like a third down back, or maybe like out of the backfield, like screens or something like that. I think that's where he's most effective, probably, in my opinion. Or coming out of the backfield for a catch. Get the run game going. I think that's what we haven't showed we can do yet. If can we even do it? I don't know that we've showed we can do it or not can. So I think those are kind of things we're going to address against maybe a not so great Raiders team that maybe we can take some chances. Maybe. So we'll see how it plays out. What do you think?
Again, all comes down to who do we want to be as a football team. Um, Hopefully, coming off of a win, a lot more laser focus. But again, how do you practice this week? What is your preparation like going into Sunday? I do think too, because it's a later game, it should help them as well in terms of being ready, knowing what to expect. Uh, and I actually think it's good that they're on the road coming off of a win, because now you have nothing else to do but to focus. Now granted, it is Vegas, and Lord knows there's enough distractions in Vegas to
Probably the worst road location. I know you said you like to be on the road, but if you you could probably pick
yeah,
almost every other place to be on the road.
but hopefully these guys, man, is keeping the main thing, which is, you know, trying to stack some wins on top of wins. So, and as Jim said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what adjustments we make in terms of with our run game. Um, More importantly, I want to see how we use our tight ends this week as well. I think they're going to be key in this game. Um, I want to see both of the guys get some touches. Not Loveland as well as Cole. I think both of those guys could be very instrumental in a game like this on the road against a team that we know um, is not the strong. They're not the strongest defensively, and I think there's some holes there that we can take full advantage of, especially with Loveland, because Loveland is not your typical tight end. So they have Brock Bowers, we have Loveland. So that's kind of a good wash right there. And then you sprinkle in Cole, who does what he does. Now the guy that I'm gonna throw out there that I think is going to may see a lot more touches, and I would be elated if he did, is Luther Burden. Luther
That's my
Burden.
Yeah.
If
boy.
Luther Burden get more touches and get more involved in this offense this coming week, this could be a major problem for the Raiders. And actually, if he gets the touches that I think he may see, that'll let me know where our coaches are mentally with regard to now where they're looking to take this offense to. That's going to be
Yeah.
key right there. How do you use a guy like Luther Burden? Because he's proven now that you need to be trying to get the ball into his hands any way possible.
I do want to mention real
Phil?
quickly. I know you mentioned the tight ends, Fields. I'll let you have it. I just want to mention this real quick. Loveland, again, after left the game on Sunday against Dallas, didn't return. Then after the game, Schefter said not believed to be serious, but he hasn't practiced this week yet, either today or yesterday. So I think his status is up in the air a little bit. So we'll have to keep monitoring that one. But I just want to throw that in there real quick. Fields, you can take it.
And well, I did forget that he didn't practice this week, but I thought they were going to try to find a way to get him in and get more touches to him and Burton. Um, I think the sneaky one might be DJ Moore. And the reason being, I think he's in the backfield, not just to run the ball like he's done in a couple of these last couple of weeks. I think that's something up his sleeve. There's something up Ben Justice's sleeve with DJ Moore to eventually get him matched up on the linebacker and to like roll him out or do something, get him in the open field. One thing I feel like when he's in the open field, he's extremely dangerous. So is actually, believe it or not, what's his guy? DeAndre Swift. Swift, he will take a screen pass and take it 40-something yards on a consistent basis. It's just he needs to be open to space. I agree with you earlier, the Bishop, when you said I wouldn't mind getting Manunga some touches at the very beginning of the game because he's north and south. There's no hesitation whatsoever. He's north and south. Get him to break down that line again, the defensive line and the linebackers. Then you can give the ball to Swift, and he can possibly open it up for more for him. So I don't know. I'm just again looking for another good game. I'm looking for growth again from this team, and I really feel like this is no Chicago team like we ever seen ever in years past. So I just feel like this whole coaching staff. I think that win last week was key. Now the players to me feel like we can buy in now to what Ben is doing and keep growing from there.
I really like what you mentioned there, Fields, about DJ Moore in the backfield because I was watching the QB school. He did a breakdown of Caleb's whole game film against Dallas. I really like what he does on his YouTube channel, but he highlighted the package where DJ Moore was in the backfield in the third quarter, and he said he truly believes that's going to be a staple of this Ben Johnson offense. And it was a two personnel. You had Odunze, you had Moore in the backfield, and I think it was Zacchaeus was on the field for wide receivers. And then you also had Komet and whoever the third string is it Smythe? Smythe is the third string tight end for the Bears. And he mentioned how dynamic Ben Johnson's offense can be with that because is DJ Moore going to run the ball? Are you going to split him out wide and get him on a linebacker like you mentioned? And all of a sudden you're in an empty backfield. Is he going to run a screen to the heavy side with the tight end and two receivers? The defense doesn't know. And it's one of the most dynamic things I think Ben Johnson's shown so far in his offense. I want to see more in that sort of package because I truly think the uh, possibilities are limitless with what he can do with DJ Moore in the backfield besides just running the ball. So I really like that you pointed that out because that should be a fun wrinkle in the offense that we see throughout the entire season. But I want to stick on DJ Moore because we mentioned we want to see Luther Burden get the ball more. As a resident Missouri student here, I would absolutely love to see that. I've seen this kid his entire career, and I've loved everything I've seen from him. But that kind of leaves too many mouths to feed at some point because you got Komet, you're going to have Loveland back at some point. DJ Moore is here, and Odunze's really established himself as a wide receiver one. I'm almost getting to the point where would I do it now? Absolutely not. But it feels as the weeks go on, and if Burden does get more and more opportunity, that someone is expendable. And I don't think you're trading Odunze on a rookie contract. Zacchaeus is on a 1-year deal, so he doesn't really have much value. And I don't know if Komet will have too much value. So I just want to hear your thoughts on possibility of maybe trading DJ Moore even after you just extended him like just last season, I believe, to a big contract extension, or if you just keep him around and it becomes a good problem to have if you're Chicago with too many wide receivers in the room, too many talented wide receivers in the room. I'm sure Caleb doesn't mind. I want to hear your thoughts on that in general. You can start with Jim. Right.
I'm against it. I hope that they wouldn't. I mean, I guess it depends on how these next, 4 or 5 games go, right? If we got no chance and Burden is showing something, then maybe they look at something like that. But I hope that's not the case. I hope that obviously we're doing well and we want to keep this group together for the season. So I think it's possible. Like you said, it is possible. We started finding out he's not getting his catches and Burden's showing out. Loveland's coming in. And I just wanted to say on what Bishop was saying earlier, you said Loveland was out. I just looked. Cole Komet left practice both Wednesday and Thursday as well with a groin. So who knows what's going to happen there for this game. So, but Komet, I always liked him. I root for him still, of course, Doomsday. I hope they don't trade him. To answer your question, I hope as they don't. And we're 10-7 and in the playoff picture, and we're going forward with our team. That's what I hope. So, what do you think, Bishop?
I'm completely against it. First and foremost. Secondly, you don't get rid of your yak leader on the team.
Oh.
Oh,
You-
Crazy.
me?
On. Let me start over. I'm
I think
against it,
that's right. I think that's good.
and you do not get rid of your yak leader. This guy, DJ Moore, is the one on the team that manages, no matter what, to make it difficult to bring him down with first tackle. You know, and the fact that you can move him around on the chessboard in so many different places to confuse and make things difficult for the defense, you don't get rid of a guy like that. And in all honesty, look at the injuries and everything that's taking place. There is no such thing as too many wide receivers. That's a skilled
Right.
position. You know, find ways to utilize the guys, and guys can get their 1,000 yards from receptions if they do what DJ does, get yards after the catch. Everybody doesn't have to be a stretch player. You know, Zacchaeus is another guy. But he's only on a 1-year deal, so I don't expect for him to be around after next year. So that's Luther Burden's spot. You know, um, DJ is a guy that you right now you need on this team because he's your Swiss Army knife in your wide receiver room. So I'm completely against it. I don't care whether we win the next 5 games or we lose the
Yeah,
next 5 games. That man is not to leave the building.
I'm with you.
Phil,
I don't know if anyone watched this last week, but I love DJ Moore. I've been a fan of his since Maryland. I covered him when he was wearing Carolina when he was first out there. He was wearing number 12. Was there when he caught that 70-some yard pass from one of the quarterback that ended up coming to the Bears a couple of years ago, back to Justin Fields, but got cut. I can't think of his name right now for Carolina. Was there when he did that. I was super excited when the Bears traded for him. But sometimes I yesterday last week I said if his behavior is anything like it was last year when they lose, addition by subtraction, I think he would have to go. And the reason I said it is because one, I forget who someone just said we have so many weapons, and yes, Caleb could be happy about it, but it also could be detrimental because it's like, okay, he needs his touches, he got to get his touches over there. And then now you're worried about everybody getting their touches because everybody in your ear like, hey, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And most receivers, sad to say, are divas, and they all want the ball, and they all are wide open. And so I feel like if he's doing anything that's detrimental to the team as far as behavior wise, then he would have to go. Again, I'm a big fan of him. I love how he interacts with his family before the game, um, everything. But as far as like with this team, like everything, winning cures everything. So if the Bears are winning, he can get one catch for 5 yards, and he'll probably be happy because winning cures everything. But if he gets one catch for 5 yards and they're losing, I just foresee he will be a problem.
you
But
know what? I'm gonna jump right in if I can, real quick on that one, Fields. There was a little. I think he was kind of asked a question um, yesterday during an interview in the locker room or whatever after practice or
Mhm.
whatever, and essentially, like he made it clear that last year wasn't his greatest with regard to attitude. He said, but it had nothing to do with his teammates.
Mhm.
So I knew where he was shooting that dart. You know, um, it was more or less what he said was his job. Now he understands his job is to be the leader in that locker room, one of the leaders in the
Mhm.
locker room, but more importantly, one of the leaders in that wide receiver room, and allow himself to be used. However, Ben Johnson feels he needs to be used to take advantage of defenses. And like he said, "Look, man, it's time for us to win, and it don't matter how we win, as long as we're winning, and it don't matter who catching the balls. We got to get him blocked. We got to do whatever our assignment is calling us to do, so we can get W's." So I don't think DJ. I don't think DJ is gonna be a problem because he's never been one before. But after a while, man, come on, man. He left Carolina, he was losing. He came here with the anticipation that he was going to be winning, and they they that was a whole smoke and mirror
Yeah.
show on that, man. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So you traded for a guy and told him that this is what the vision was, but then you lied to the guy.
I guess what
In
scares
all
me too
honesty,
is that I mean I know I agree. I guess what scares me is that I don't want him to be Brandon Marshall 2.0 and be a great wide receiver and never sniff the playoffs his whole career. And like I said, have it. I'm sorry.
no, I'm gonna
Uh,
say yes. Yeah, you spot on, man. You spot on. Or don't want him to be that guy that does get traded and get a ring.
yeah,
Hmm.
because that is a thing too. I always feel like when the Bears let someone go, they tend to do better. I, you know, because the fields are getting injured. Well, not the quarterback position, but almost any other position. They when they
Oh
leave, they
yeah,
tend to
think
get.
about it. How many guys have left the Bears that are now walking around with some jewelry on, man? If they,
Mhm.
if they don't have the jewelry, they've at least made it to the playoffs. They've sniffed the playoffs more than once. You
Yeah.
know,
Matt Nagy.
so,
Roquan.
Well, you know what? I brought up Matt Nagy last week. I said, it was Brad Childress. I don't know if anybody watched it. So I was trying to figure out who was like in his ear the second year that he was coaching with the Bears, and it was Brad Childress. I couldn't think of the person's name, but it felt like Brad Childress kind of hurt Matt Nagy. Do you think Matt Nagy was bad as a coach as we say he was, or the way that we acted? You know,
yes,
I know it's kind of off
yes,
topic. You
Hmm.
think
yes,
so?
yes, 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 yes,
Right,
yes,
but that first
yes.
year to me, what was wrong with that first with the double joint year?
Defense, man. It was the defense, man.
Yeah.
That was look. That was all defense. That was all defense, man. We got a little lucky on the offensive side of the football, but that was defense, brother.
Because even
That was
because I
defense.
ended up watching that. It took me what year is this? And what year was that? It took me 3 months ago to watch that game, the Philadelphia game,
Mm.
and I mean, well, it took me 18 years to watch Super Bowl 41, but I went back and I watched it. I was like, I forgot Mitch Trubisky led them back into field goal range when it was like 40 something seconds left in the game.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and it's like I remember I can't think of his name right now because I don't know if anyone knows. I do photography now. I've been shooting NFL games for over 10 years. But he works for ESPN. I believe he came out of the Giants organization. He interviewed for the Bears GM job. Can I think of his name? He's a black guy. Can I think of his name? But he works for ESPN.
Who?
Anyway,
Lewis
I
Riddick?
asked him. Yeah. I asked him about Matt Nagy. I mean, excuse me, about Mr. Trubisky. He said he'd be a good quarterback if he just stay out of his mind, stay out of his own way. Like if he just go out there and play football, boom, he'll do well. Is that D nice?
Yo, yo,
What's going on,
What's
man?
good? What's
how y'all
good?
feeling, man?
We're doing
Good.
good, doing good.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
Yeah. What's going on, fellas? How we feeling?
Nothing. Yeah, we've just been going through this game we got coming up Sunday. Big one. Try to get to 500.
Mm-hmm.
Main highlight emphasis is our bad run defense versus their even worse O line. So
Hmm.
it's it's good. We both all believe we'll have a bounce back here. We as in Chicago, will hold Genty together. But there is that little feeling where it's like it might not go our way. Genty might have his welcome to the NFL moment. 100+ yards, a touchdown, and really gash us. But we're all kind of hoping he saves that for another week.
Uh, well, yeah. I mean, it'll be great if we can have it both. If it happens both ways. I think most importantly for us, just control what we control. Start off quick. start off strong, start off fast like we have in these other games, and get ahead to the point to where the running game doesn't matter for the other team. That was the winning formula for all the other teams that beat the Raiders. They started off fast. They scored a lot of points, and Raiders had to play catch up. So the running game is kind of null and void. And I think we just need to take that same, have that same energy. I think I want to say that I think we can get a special teams touchdown this weekend.
Oh, really? That's a
Yeah,
bold prediction. I
yeah,
like it though.
yeah. I
Who you
think
got?
that's
You got Luther returning the kickoff. Who you got?
um. I like Duvernay too. I mean, but either one, I think a special team we'll get a special teams touchdown this weekend. I feel like just observing the Raiders, what I've been watching. I watched two of the games that they played this year, and they got a lot of holes everywhere. But to their um to their credit, they maintain a lot of aggressiveness, even though things don't be going their way. So we're gonna have to play some defense for sure. They like to get down the field. They're aggressive with the passing game. So it's gonna be something to look out for.
Yeah, we all agreed though. If you could get this game one dimensional, Dario, I don't know if you did you watch the Monday night game between Vegas and the Chargers? What 2 weeks ago now at this point, where the
Yeah.
Chargers were able to make the Raiders completely one dimensional, and Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions, and they were awful. So it kind of feels like that's the recipe of success to beat this team. Just make Geno Smith try to beat you, and when he's not in Seattle, it seems like he hasn't been able to do it so far in his entire career, really.
But I mean, to just blame him
It
would be
isn't just him, but it's. I think in general,
yeah.
a team one dimensional and have to pass, you're typically gonna have a lot more success. But it did feel like the Chargers were able to do it, and that's gonna feels like what a lot of teams are gonna aim for against the Raiders, and it'll just try to see if the Bears are able to replicate that.
Yeah, again, like the Chargers, they jumped out quick and they got a good lead to the point where Geno had like I said, they're gonna be aggressive. The aggressive doesn't always mean good, you know what I'm saying? So,
Fellas.
What's going on, Trax?
Hey, I wanted to congratulate everybody really quick on this milestone accomplishment. We reached over 7,000 subscribers. Now we're over 7,200 subscribers. And the winner of our jersey for the month of September and also achieving our 7,000 goal is Joe Florin. He won a brand new Caleb Williams jersey. So stay with us, guys. I think we're going to do another jersey giveaway when we reach 8,000. And it took 11 days for us to go from 6,000 to 7,000. So we might have 2 jersey pulls in 1 month, maybe even 3.
nice.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Very
You
good.
got you guys are costing me a lot of money over there in YouTube land. You guys need to take it easy. We're bursting at the seams over here. No, I don't mind. It's all good. You guys are doing a great job with the show. I'm going to leave now, but I just wanted to speak on that and tell everybody to come up at Bridges Scoreboard at 3 o'clock. We're going to have a pregame show, play-by-play analysis, trivia, all kinds of good stuff. A lot of giveaways. It's going to be a good time. So come on up there and hang out, do some high fives with me, some chest bumps, and let's get crazy.
Sweet. Yep.
Hey,
Congrats
did
to
you guys
everyone
do
reaching 7,000.
Did you guys do final predictions yet, Michael?
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let's not everybody fall suit. Because I've already derailed the train off the track. But I will like to say this. I'm gonna say that the Bears are gonna win 45-9.
Wow.
Mm.
Hey, if
Yeah.
they score 45 points, I don't even know how we could take it as a loss. If we
And
give
I
up
will
46 to Vegas, that would be bad.
I will say the only reason why, and you guys will see another quarterback at the end of the game because Caleb will need to relax in about the fourth quarter. You might see some second and third string from others, and I am probably going to call this right now. I think his assistants are going to finish calling the second half of this game, and he's going to take it easy and sit down on the bench and hang out with Caleb. Maybe play some Uno or something. I don't know, but it's going to be a good one.
Mm.
All right, you guys have a good show. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good
All
night,
right,
Tracks.
tracks.
See
All
you
right,
guys.
all right. But where y'all at on? I mean, I know y'all talked about it already. You know, I hate to be rude and come in like this, but what did I miss? Where y'all at now? What's the conversation now? We can get that. We can keep it there.
Oh, we've been
DJ
bouncing
Moore.
everywhere. Where were we before? I'm
DJ Moore.
honestly trying to remember at this point.
DJ
DJ
Moore.
Moore.
Yeah, we were talking about DJ Moore. I brought up the idea that recently, because if you're going to implement Burden, I've seen it discussed. If Burden keeps increasing his workload, that if DJ Moore ends up being the odd man out and they end up trading him at some point, but it seems like the consensus is disagree on that. You
Yeah,
keep him around, and it just kind of becomes one of those. You have too many weapons, but if someone does ends up going down with injury, then that's the next man up mentality, and you got a really talented group of wide receivers to really step up.
that's a real Chicago thing to do, man. You finally get some stuff stacked up in your favor. You know, you got a position group that's been kind of missing for the last maybe 12 to 15 years, and you finally get it back to, you know what I'm saying, some type of resurgence. Now you want to start taking away from it. You know, I listen, DJ Moore is a very valuable piece to this football team. I think he's better with us than in going anywhere else. He's great for these young guys, these young pass catchers. He's great for the young quarterback. You know, DJ is at a point in his career where he wants to win, and he wants to win big. He doesn't. I don't think playoffs are just good enough for him. Um, I think he wants to go all the way and be a champion. So there's going to be frustrations. I'm not giving him no excuses for doing some of the things that he has done, but I do understand. But I think good coaching also allows him to understand that listen, you got to be patient because no matter how great you are, it takes a level of patience and perseverance to get to where you need to be. So keeping him in Chicago will be a great thing. Just because we got all these new toys, don't mean we got to get rid of the old one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I think this week they're gonna find some ways to get him more involved. But what I will tell you is that him in the backfield for me is a no go. I don't like that. Ben Johnson's creativity and all that, but him in the backfield, you know, we see what happened to CeeDee Lamb when they tried
I
to
was
do
just about
him.
to say you got
You
PTSD
know,
with CD.
yeah. And ain't it funny? They have him in the backfield, but they never call no screens for him or
Well, you wonder if that's just hiding.
never
He's
throw it to him out
waiting
the
to whip that out.
backfield.
Yeah, I think I said that earlier. I feel like they're
Yeah.
hiding.
So,
That's what comes soon.
yeah. So yeah, man. You know, this
I
is a
don't.
time for us to develop a win streak, man, and I hope we start it where we add on to it Sunday. It's gonna be a tougher game than people think, I believe, because the Raiders playing at home. Like I said, they're gonna be aggressive, and we don't have a lot of screws tighten on this defense as much as we would like to feel that way. But you know, still a lot of holes there. We played decent versus Dallas, you know, but I think our defense played well because the game got out. The offense made it to where the game got out of hand. So Raiders got
Yeah.
some weapons. They got some weapons. They got some nice, impressive young guys over there.
Yeah, you got Jeanty, we discussed. You got Brock Bowers, too, who
Trey
might be able to
Tucker.
exploit the late linebacker. You know, no TJ Edwards still, who's your typical coverage linebacker for this defense. Trey
Mhm.
Tucker had a breakout, gave me a hat trick last week and touchdown. So it's not going to be easy for this Bears defense. But I do want to highlight one other aspect of this game that could end up flipping this, and it's on the other side of the ball. Darnell Wright hasn't practiced today. He didn't practice
Mhm.
yesterday. I think his status is in doubt for Sunday. He's been a premier right tackle the past couple years. He's been top 5 at absolute worst. I think that's one of things he's been overlooked almost as one of the more elite tackles in the game. And we know the Bears tackle depth hasn't even been playing. Like they've been healthy scratches. Kuran is on IR now, but Ozzy Trapillo was a healthy scratch last week. He might end up having to start this game on Sunday if Darnell Wright isn't able to go. If he's going against Max Crosby, guys, in your first NFL game, that could be enough for the Bears to lose. Like I'm gonna just put it out there. If he can't block, because we saw Karan last year debut against Minnesota, and he was a turnstile. He couldn't block anyone. and I'm having maybe a little bit of PTSD. Again, Trapillo's a different player than Kiran Amagaji. Maybe he has a little bit more success, but that could be an area where Vegas is truly able to disrupt anything Ben Johnson wants to get going in this game. And maybe a reason why the Raiders are now favored in this game is because Darnell Wright's absence could end up being exactly what Vegas needs to pull this one out. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that if Darnell Wright isn't able to go on Sunday. If your confidence still remains high on this Bears O-line to keep it together, we can start with you, Bishop. I think that laugh says a lot.
Touchy subject, but I'm going to be optimistic and say that he's going to be able to, if necessary, meet the call. That's tough, man. But there's ways of sliding the protection and being able to help him if necessary. So I'm going to be optimistic and say, I'm not going to get too wordy with this. I'm just going to be optimistic and say that he's going to answer. He's going to answer the call. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Jim, what are you thinking here?
Or Jim? Yeah.
Well, I don't typically have a whole lot of confidence in the Bears O-line. This year is a little different. It's a little different this year, man. I'm trying to be, like you said, I'm trying to be optimistic. We don't even know who they are just yet, So I think you're right. I think he wants to compete against Crosby and some of those other guys on the Raiders. So I think he's going to come out and we're going to get it done. So that's my prediction. Short and sweet, like Bishop. We're going to get it done with Wright. He's going to play.
Okay.
What do you think?
Go ahead, T-Field.
New team, new organization, new coaches, not the same old Bears. I'm optimistic. I like I said, I think. Doesn't Crosby go up against the left tackle though?
I think he flips it around.
Okay. I mean, but even so, I know they're trying to exploit any opportunity they can, but I feel like we know that he's a problem, and we should. I trust Ben Johnson and the offensive coordinator and the staff to be able to adjust to whatever Crosby might bring to him. They dealt with a great defensive line in Minnesota for 3 quarters. I think they can handle one person, even with Darnell right out, possibly out.
Darius, what you thinking here?
Are we sure that Trapillo is the guy?
I'd assume so if Karan's on IR.
Excuse the camera.
No,
I don't know what
the
happened.
Eagle. I thought it was be the Eagle guy from last year.
Theo Benedict?
Yeah,
It could be him
think,
too. Although he's the left tackle backup, so
no. This is why I say this, Michael.
Week.
This is why I said last week Darnell Wright went out and Theo Benedict went in. Okay. Now, Trapillo has yet to dress out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a new coaching staff. I don't think they dress him out to start the rookie on the road this week. I don't think so.
I hope not.
I don't think so. It wouldn't be a wise choice. It'll look very Eberflus-ish if it happens that way. I think the Canadian guy is going to fill in if Wright doesn't play. But I'm with Jim. I think Wright plays this week. I think after tomorrow, I think they're going to find out a little bit more. But I'm hopeful, but I do think Wright plays. You know what I'm saying? I think he plays. I think he toughs it out and plays. But to talk about the rookie, and I said this early on, and it's coming back to seem as if it was true. I think we drafted the wrong guy, fellas. I think we drafted the wrong guy in Trapillo. because number one, he wasn't able to beat out Braxton for the left tackle spot. Number two, he can't even dress out, and he's a second, third round pick. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, but this is what it's looking like right now. I've been on past shows and I said it before the season start, well, really before training camp. If this guy can't beat out Braxton Jones for this spot, then I think we drafted the wrong guy. Now we can't sit up here making excuses saying he's a right tackle, he got to move over to left. Listen, Washington has a left tackle playing right tackle now in Josh Connolly. And I mean, he's having his struggles, but there's no complaints coming from over there. So for Connolly to be able to get on the field and Trapillo that can't tells me that we drafted the wrong guy.
You think him is more suitable as a guard? Even though he's like 6'12".
He's a big guy, man, and I don't know what's going on. I'm saying, I wish I could get some other eyes and mouths to tell me what's up, but I'm disappointed in that. I am.
Yeah, I mean, you had Shamar Turner played last week, but 2 weeks ago against Detroit, 2 of your 3 second-round picks were healthy scratches, and then Colson Loveland might as well have been. He didn't do anything in the game. So I question the draft strategy a lot. I mean, even Luther Burden played against Detroit, only had 1 catch. Obviously, he got a lot more work this week, so might be slowly implementing him into the system. But second-round picks have to be instant impact guys. I mean, we see the Eagles get instant impact out of DeJean and Blankenship last year, and they go win the Super Bowl because their secondary was terrible in 24. They come back the next year, draft 2 guys in the second round who were in Rookie of the Year discussions, and they were key pieces to winning a Super Bowl. Meanwhile, our guys aren't even playing. Like, it just seems like there's a disconnect between polls and GMs that kind of feel like they know what they're doing in the draft, which – again, when it happened, I was not a fan of them extending polls because he hadn't proved anything yet. If, this year they make the playoffs and they look good and his draft pick, whatever, then maybe you extend them. But yeah, I really question the draft strategy so far. Maybe it's Loveland is developmental since he's 22, I think, and Warren was 24, 25 getting drafted. But again, Ryan Poles' draft record with the developmental tackle with Karan doesn't look so good. So I don't know why I shouldn't trust him right now to really develop Ozzy into a tackle. Maybe it happens, but right now I think there's plenty of reason to have alarm and caution with what Ryan Poles is doing in the draft.
Like, to blame the developmental part on the Bears, that might be a bit much for me. It's a bit much for me because there is a such thing as getting the wrong guy, man.
Yeah.
There's some guys out there, hell, some of the greatest offensive line coaches couldn't develop because they're not the guy. Everybody can't be great. And the alarming thing for me is not the fact that he can't touch the grass. He ain't even getting a jersey, bro.
Can't have that happen with a second rounder.
That's what's hitting home with me. Now I understand Turner coming from an injury. I get that. The thing with Luther Burden, I even understand that because it's a full room over there, receiver, and he missed a lot. He missed a great part of training camp and all that because he had whatever he's going through. But Trapillo's been there the whole time. They tried him on the left side and realized he's a right, but for him not to get a jersey, bro,
it should be concerning. It should be very concerning.
And I wasn't voting for Braxton Jones to lose his job, but this is what you drafted this kid to do, to come in and take that spot. So the fact that he couldn't come in and do that, and then as things go along, here we go with an injury to our starting right tackle, and he can't even get in. He can't get a jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just the fact he didn't get the job. Like, if you're the backup, fine, whatever. At least you're dressing. He can't dress.
Man,
he didn't just lose the backup job or the starting job. He lost a job.
Straight up. Like, he's not even being considered.
Jim Fields, you guys got thoughts on this?
Uh, I don't have any great thoughts on this, but what's running through my mind is Kevin White-ish kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is not a great memory.
No.
Uh, so that's what my brain's sitting here telling me right now. So just not panning out, you know,
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
And go ahead, T Fields. I'm sorry.
No, you go. You go.
And the thing is, a team like the Raiders, they get real aggressive when they draft offensive linemen, and they still bad over there. So it's not, like I said, it's not all the time about the team developing guys. Because listen, I can say this till the cows come home: development is on the player. Okay, these teams and organizations give you a direction in which they want you to go. They telling you how you can go about it. Of course, coaches have to coach you, but overall player development is on that player, man. Because you can be coached all day and all night, but if you're not doing the extra work to get better, you're not going to get better.
Well
Like,
said.
that's just what it is. And some guys just peaked out, man, for whatever reason. Some guys just gonna be what they gonna be, and you can just count it as a mess up. Oh, messed that one up. Got to move on. And we done seen enough of those. But and it's hindsight is 2020, bro. You look at that draft and say, hey, we could have did this, we could have did that, we could have did this, we could have did that. I had my personal picks who I wanted the Bears to pick. I'm pretty sure you guys did as well. But just man
My,
can't even dress out, bro.
I wanted to run it back with that pick. But I think, to me, he was pressured. Maybe some. I feel like to draft an offensive lineman. I personally, when I evaluate, that's one position that I cannot evaluate really well because I can't just watch game film and know what type of person you are. And I think that's key because I think Brian Poles too seems like he's drafting people with like his mindset. That soft spoken, non aggressive offensive lineman type player. I don't know. I don't know that to be true or not. But I would have hit free agency like he did with the inside versus trying to draft a tackle. Again, and I just said from my personal experience, I cannot evaluate that position to save my life. And I would have got somebody, a veteran, and plug them back in. I remember when the Bears did that several years ago. I think with John Tate, if you remember him, I think that whole offensive lineman was free agents. Like they brought in, they didn't really draft. And I honestly would have done something like that. I never always want to draft the best player available and not a need. And I feel like when you draft a need, you reach. And I felt like that was a big reach. Someone they could have possibly got in the fourth round, I heard. So you end up getting them second just because you felt that was a need and you wanted to develop competition. And apparently, he's not competitive. He, something is lacking there. I don't know. I don't know if he's just not ready. He need a year to sit. And we need the Bears to find a way to redshirt an NFL player. I don't know, but
Can't be redshirting second round picks. Maybe a sixth rounder, but not a second rounder, man.
yeah. That reminds me of the Jerry Angelo, Lovey Smith when they were getting Dan Manswin and what was the other second round pick? Leon Joe or somebody like that. All these
Yeah.
second round picks they wasted. First and second rounders should start in third round should threaten.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well
honestly
said.
think it's important to draft a lineman every draft, especially if you have like 8 or 9 draft picks. It's always like you can find great linemen in any round of the draft. Look at Trey Smith. Trey Smith was 6th rounder. Of course, he
Mm-hmm.
had some health ailments that were alarming to some people. That's why it went so why he fell so far back. But still in all, 6th round pick, O lineman. It's teams full of 4th rounders at the O lineman. Like it's not necessary that you have to get that first round tackle. But if you have an opportunity to, you should jump on, especially if you're in dire need. And I do believe in the first round the Bears would have picked the kid out of Texas if the Saints didn't grab him first. But here we go, drafting Colston Loveland. They said it was too rich to draft a running back, but you think it's rich enough to draft a tight end. Go figure. Okay.
Yeah.
But moving on through this draft, you understand where your needs are. Stop playing like you don't get it. If you know you got a need at left, why are you drafting right to make them a left? That's crazy. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy work, bro. So, we'll see how it pans out. And I'm hoping now if Wright is not healthy, he need to sit down. Let
Yeah, you
the
got a
let the,
bye week next week. You can
yeah,
probably
let
get
the
healthy then.
let the Canadian guy come in and let's see what happens. Maybe, like Bishop said, you can send some chips that way. Um, or
He
however
actually
you decide to do it.
he's
But
actually graded well so far this year for the times he's played in the game.
yeah.
So it'd be great. He graded decent. I'm not going to say outstanding. I think, but over 70. What was his PFF rating last week? Like 74, I believe.
It's
So it's
pretty
not
good.
like
It's good enough.
yeah. So especially for a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
it's
So
not.
but you can simplify the game for them also by
Mm-hmm.
establishing a running game.
yeah,
This is the main thing that I think everybody be missing the point on is an offensive line is only as good as if they're imposing their will upon the defensive lineman and getting to that second level, third level. You get to if your defensive line can block to where you're getting to that second level, and now you're getting 4.5, 5, 6 yards per carry. That's demoralizing to a defense, but it simplifies your offense, and that's what I think the Bears really need to be trying to strive for. And this is the perfect game to do that. To really set the tone early. That's why before you came on, D Nice, I had said, you know, it's evident that Swift is not a between the tackles tailback. So why not start the game out early and let Monangai get them carries early, man, to soften up between the tackles, man, and let's get an offense, let's get a running game established early on to where now, and again, still go down and score. We got to get on the board, but if we can do that early on and consistently, then it's going to simplify the rest. It's going to simplify the rest of the game offensively. I feel. Now you can play around with your skill sets and move guys around and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, because we're talking about the offensive line, you take that pressure off of the offensive line, and in all honesty, you give them more and more. You really give them some hellified confidence because if they realize that we are literally running down their throat now, come pass pro, they really feeling themselves now, man, and they refuse to be beaten. So it's that's how I look at it. I think if we can really establish a run game early on, it's going to make it easier for everybody. The offensive lineman, the quarterback, the skill set players, the running backs. And it make it easier for the coaches because now they can really coach a much easier, simplified game, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you gotta use some deception as well, man. That's what a lot of the great coaches you see. Sean McVay operates in a lot of deception, man. So it's gonna have to be a meeting of the minds when it comes down to our offense versus their defense, especially when it's talking about protecting Caleb. So we'll see, man. Like I'm hoping Wright can play, but again, depth is important. So if we have to use our depth, we got to see what kind we got to see what kind of depth we have. Better early than late.
better
Yep.
against this team than um,
Exactly.
Miles Garrett.
I mean, but Max Crosby ain't nothing to sneeze at, you know.
No, not
No,
at all. But
not at all.
like I think Michael said earlier about the Justin Fields game. That's when you I kind of get flashbacks to that as well.
Mm-hmm. Now I don't know if y'all spoke about this, but Declan Doyle was a coach in Denver, so he's seen this Raiders club. You know what I'm saying? Pretty often, so he may have a book on him. You never know. Of course, it's not the same team as far as coaching and stuff like that, but some of those players are still there that were there last season. So you know that may help us out as well.
Question for you, D Nice, real quick. We were trying to think of a tight end that Pete Carroll used a lot. Do you remember any
You said that Pete Carroll did what?
that a tight end that he used quite a bit?
Mm.
Yeah, I
Well,
told everybody else.
in
Okay,
Seattle,
Yeah.
there we go. There we
in
go.
Seattle,
There we go.
in Seattle, it wasn't just one, but he used it was kind of by committee because he had Will Disley, he had
Okay.
Jim,
Thank
we
you,
can
what was
Jim.
wipe
the
our
name?
foreheads, Jim. We can wipe our foreheads, Jim. We ain't got to. We ain't got to. We ain't got to worry about. We ain't got to worry about Brock, man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
No. The reason why I said that, the reason why I'm saying that, D Nice, is before you came on, I had mentioned. I said, I'm not overly concerned about Brock Bowers. I'm not diminishing his skill set at all. I'm not at all.
Uh-huh.
But the point I was making was, if you really sit back and think about Pete Carroll's offense,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't really use the tight end to the point where they're necessarily a threat. So I'm not overly concerned with that aspect of their offense, as I am more keeping an eye on Jeanty, making not letting him get loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is something. Listen, Genty's gonna get carries. What he does with those carries is strictly up to him and us. But Pete Carroll's gonna allow that kid to touch the ball. I mean,
Oh,
I've watched a few
absolutely.
Raiders games. I watched a few Raiders games this season, and they listen, bro. They be having plays, but a penalty somehow just jacks them up. You know what I mean? And they
Mhm.
have to
Like our
call back
offense.
for whatever reason. And he's also going to use them in the He's going to use Genty in the pass game as well. You know, get him in space because the
Well,
kid runs hard, man.
let's hope for penalties. Let's hope for penalties
Yeah,
let's hope for penalties on Oakland. I mean, not Oakland, but
yeah,
on Vegas. Let's hope for penalties.
yeah. And you
But
know,
look,
we play
guys,
a
I,
clean
I just wanted
game.
to jump back in. I just want before let me say this, D Nights, and I'm gonna get out of you guys' way. I just wanted to
Mhm.
jump in really quick. I've been having some connectivity issues, as you guys can see, but I wanted to jump back in. I didn't want to just ghost out once my connectivity got good. But I'm gonna let you guys wrap things up, man. Um, Look, my prediction. Hear me when I say this, fellas. Bears 28, Raiders 17.
Sweet. I like the sound of that. I think we'd all be very happy with getting back to 500. I think we could each do our predictions
28-17.
here, and then we can get out of here.
Uh, Caleb's going to throw 2 TDs, and we're going to get some. We're going to get some points via special teams as well as defense. I think the defense is going to keep things rolling with the takeaways, and I think we're going to force them to be a little more one-dimensional, and we'll end up with the defense with a pick six.
Sweet.
Nice.
Feels
And the
what's your
person that
prediction
I'm
here?
and
Your
before
prediction.
Fields go, the person that's going to get the interception is going to be our boy Brisker.
Mm.
I like the sound of that.
Hey,
Yes,
before you
indeed.
go, Bishop, I got an answer to your question.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Pete Carroll's most notable tight end was Ben Coates back in his New England
Dang.
Patriots day.
Yeah, I can leave on that one now, baby. I'm good to go. And yes, wipe the forehead, Jim. We should be able to survive Sunday.
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, man. I do too. But bear down, everybody. Thank you guys, everybody in
Bear
the
down.
chat and everybody
Bear
that's
down.
watching
Bear
us.
down, Bishop.
Thanks for watching us. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I got some things to take care of. But as always, it's a pleasure chopping it up with you guys. Until next week, deuces.
Yep.
Peace.
Bear down.
So
All right, so Bishop gave us his prediction. I think we could quickly cycle through all of ours. What's going to happen Sunday, and we can get out of here. I'm going to try and go eat something real quick. Catch the end of the second half, or this end of the first half here. Seattle's beating Arizona 7-3 currently in the second quarter. Ryland had a 33-yard field goal, and then AJ Barner, a backup tight end for Seattle, with the touchdown catch there. But with our predictions here, you can start it off to my right here, Jim. What do you think is going to happen Sunday?
I wrote down 35-10.
Oof.
I think we get
Nice
the running
pumping.
game going. We get the running game going. Second half, we start opening up some of those throwing options for us. And like he said, we're going to get a special teams touchdown. So 35-10, that's my prediction. And I got an answer for Fields' question earlier. The guy that was with Carolina and came to us that threw the touchdown to DJ Moore was P.J. Walker.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. I think PJ threw the ball for like 70-something yards against the Falcons that when that played the DJ
Yeah.
Moore, and if you remember, DJ Moore
35-10.
got a penalty for taking his helmet off, which shouldn't have been called.
And that Joker came here and couldn't make it through preseason, man. That's crazy.
True.
So, yeah, I'm ever the optimist, 35-10.
Cool. Darius, what are you thinking?
I honestly feel like the Raiders gonna score anywhere from 17 to 20 points. So all right, I'm gonna say 28-20 Bears.
Cool. To be another higher scoring game for this Bears offense with 28 and then 31 last week against Dallas. Fields, what are you thinking here?
I think with 42 seconds left in the game, Geno Smith is going to hit Rottweiler for a touchdown to make the final score. Bears 27. Oh, I was about to say Oakland 2. Raiders 23. They'll go for the
All right.
onside kick and not get it.
Yeah, I'll complete the clean sweep. I think the Bears take it. I'll go 23-17. I think a little bit lower scoring. On the road, backup right tackle maybe. I mean, if Darnell Wright ends up playing in this game and is actually healthy, that might change my prediction a little bit. But right now, I'm going to err on the side that he isn't playing in this one, especially with the bye next week. I think Caleb still looks sharp. Run game will look a little bit better. And I just think the Bears should win this game. They're the better team on paper. They're the better coach team. Been a while since we've been able to say that second part of better coach team, but I truly think they are when it comes at least against the Raiders, and I think that should be enough to get a road win in Vegas. Before we head out of here, it is the start of the NFL season, which means it's time to break out the Bandito with El Bandito Yankee, the official tequila of game day. 100% blue Weber agave, all natural and so smooth it's criminal. Try the award-winning Blanco, Reposado, Anejo, and the new high-proof Plata 47. Gear bottles at Binny's. And for recipes and more places for purchase, go to elbanditoyankee.com. I want to thank everyone here for coming out tonight on a Thursday night, making time out of your week. Been here for an hour and a half, so if you've been with us here the whole time or even just checking in for a little while, appreciate it. And always hit the like button, subscribe button. Helps us out each a lot. Appreciate Tracks coming in, announcing 7,000 subscribers. Had a jersey giveaway at 7,000, said he'd do another one at 8,000. Said it only took 11 days to get 1,000 subscribers to get the 7,000. I'm sure if the Bears keep winning, more views and people keep watching, because when the Bears are good and winning, the city's happier. People want to listen to more Bears content. So hopefully they help us out getting some wins on the field. Hopefully you help us out as well, hitting the subscribe and like button, supporting us. I think for all of us here, that'll probably just about do it for us. I had a good discussion. I really enjoyed it with all you guys here tonight, talking and previewing the game on Sunday. Thank you for everyone that came out and listened to us. We had a good time, but if you guys have any other closing remarks, we'll head out of here.
Bears.
Thanks for having me, guys, and can't wait to do it again.
Peace and love, everybody. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Yep, they said it best. Go Bears, everybody. Have a safe and good night.